says, welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up your telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. We're on RealFM 91.9. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. You see, as a people, we have to believe that we have the ability, we have the answers to meet the challenges we face. The time has come for us to stop blaming others for our present circumstances. We like to go back to slavery. We like to blame the British. We like to blame the Americans. Some going to blame communism. But for centuries, we have been a people that have access to education. And for over 50 years in Grenada, we are independent. We have the University of the West Indies. We have our academia reach at the highest level. We have wealthy black people. We have to stop blaming others. We have to examine ourselves and realize that we are our own worst enemy. We have to be honest with ourselves. We should never lie to ourselves. And we should do everything within our power to avoid telling lies to our people. We have to ask questions and discuss the fact that 70% of our children exiting school, leaving school, cannot attain the basic requirements. Now, if education is invaluable, paramount, important, how could we progress if 70% of the children exiting school cannot meet the basic requirements? Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, caller.
Yeah. I just sit down thinking about if they have a referendum to change the Pension Act. I trying to picture now which one of them workers will vote to get less money. That was the thinking. If they have to change, they must have a referendum in order to change it. So I like which one of them workers what will benefit from that? What we go and vote against that? Vote for that. For them to get less money. I don't think that will fail. Maybe the only person might do that is 9.4 years a culture man. Maybe both of them might do that because the brain block. But I trying to picture now how that will work out. I still trying to picture how that will work out with that pension thing. Because contract work is illegal and how, but I don't know, I can't get in pause there now. There's somebody that can clear that. So take care, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller. I doubt these things could be cleared, you know. The more and more the Prime Minister is showing his lack of understanding of the public service. It appears when the Prime Minister wake up or when he reach in front of the mic, he's just saying things. The National Insurance Scheme is a pension scheme. You see, too much of these people tell lies. They lie. They gave people the impression that public officers was going home without a pension. That's a lie. That is not true. The National Insurance Scheme was set up by the revolution with the hope that would be the only pension scheme in Grenada, and it would take on everybody. Because you cannot change the rules of the game in the middle of the game, you have to establish a cutoff point. So everybody who employed with the government, I think after April 4th, 1984 and 1983, would have been falling under the NIS. They used the Provident Fund and absorb the people, some of the people that were in the Provident Fund and the money the Provident Fund have. to start NIS. This thing only become a factor years after, when the unions decide, going back and look after at the Constitution, realize there are loopholes and technicality. The government then set up the Lendo Commission, and recommendations were made, but then the government changed. And eventually the matter was challenged in the court as a constitutional matter. Now, if the Prime Minister believes that contract workers are not getting pension, the Prime Minister lied. The only how you would not get pension is if you didn't used to pay NIS. Everybody that paid NIS gets pension. And these individuals have to stop their lies. And I think we have to call out people from academia, teachers, lawyers, prime ministers, politicians. When they lie, just tell them they lie in the most brutal form, because they are misleading the country. The NIS is a pension policy. If you believe that people are not getting enough money from NIS, then you look at it to improve the amount of money they're getting. What they did was to increase the amount of years that you have to be in NIS before you pay. It was 60, they bring it to 65. And they increase the amount of money you have to pay. I think it was 5 and 6%. The employer pays 5% or 4%, and the employer pays 5 and the employee pays 4, something like that. Presently, you're paying 12.5%. The employee pays 5.7, and the employer pays 6.7 or something like that. And eventually they bring in the age to 65. So when you hear anybody say that if you're a contract worker, you're not getting pension, just tell them they lie. They're misleading people. I think we have to be brutal. The worst thing in the country is for academia to mislead our people. That's the worst thing that could happen. Remember, our leaders sold us in slavery. Never forget. We like to blame the white man, but the black man was selling slaves for 700 years plus before the white man gone by. Let me repeat that. Slavery was existing in Africa for 700 years before white people go and buy slaves. All you hear these individuals are asking for reparation. If me as a white man, I ain't giving them 1 cent reparation. But if we get money, take. If manna fall from the sky, take. But we don't want to sit down and blame ourselves. A big prime minister, he is not Tevin Andrew. He cannot get credence to be considered as never see come see. Or say he was over exuberant, he full of vengeance when nobody did him wrong, so he turned the hatchet man. The prime minister is telling lies. And he's lying without compunction and great regularity. And the time has come for us to say, don't mislead Grenadians. The NIS is a pension scheme. It is a contributory pension scheme. The employer puts some, the government puts some. There are some companies that have additional pension scheme. There are some individuals that take out pension scheme with insurance companies. And there are some people that don't have pension scheme. And that happened in the United States of America and England too. So what the Prime Minister doing in Grenada is just lying. I am fed up with a leader. A leader must be a believable person. Telling lies so much. Now, if the government start a new pension scheme for contract workers, it go bust. It is not sustainable. If NIS is struggling, irrespective of the mass of workers under NIS, if the government is struggling and they only have about 2,000-3,000 person paying pension for, would that new pension scheme people be required to pay NIS? I mean, come on. I have appealed to Dennis Cornwall to let the Prime Minister sit down on his blessed assurance and expound to him about these things he don't know. He's speaking out of turn. In the same way he said he will get truck, green-leg truck, to pick mango and guava. Come on. You're making Caribbean people laugh at us. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon. You know, the whole thing about the slavery situation is that, one, there were Africans who were made slaves in the United States. They were brought into the United States and they got their freedom. And they turn around and enslave their fellow Africans, make them slaves. There were Africans in the United States who owned slaves. The next thing about reparation is that I consider it to be blood money, because the people who want the money know they were never enslaved. It was how many generations go back. So if you consider that it was wrong to enslave your brother to make money, and now you want from that money, that means that you are reaping the blood, sweat, and tears of someone else. It is not your back that get the blows. When we look at the manner in which our Heavenly Father dealt with the Egyptians who made the Israelis slaves, when he instructed Moses to collect money, collect gold and different things from the Egyptians. So it was those who enslaved the Israeli at the time who paid the price, not generations way down the line. So what we are asking for, those who are asking for reparation now, they're asking for blood money, right? And imagine that you get that money, it wasn't your back that feel the blows, not your mother, not even your grandmother. How many generations way down, and then you turn around and you enjoying that money? To me, that is an abomination. Have a good day.
I'm in full agreement with you, caller. Caller, I'm in full agreement with you. Because we are descendants of slavery, too much of black people want to support that. The Islam, the Arabs used to castrate black slaves. For 700 years, black people selling their own people. If Deacon Mitchell could have got a chance, he's selling all poor NNP. All them poor NNP, Deacon would have sold them. Look at what Deacon did or do with the low-income housing project. A housing project that was designed for the poor of the poor. They were provided rent to own, a simple system where they could own a house. So a 60-year-old woman could own a house. The government, no, she might dead before she pay for it. But she children could pay for it and say, I own 4 posts. This vulture government take it away from them. The Chinese when the previous NDC was there, in 2008, 2013, they tried to negotiate with the Chinese to give them 40 million and take back 1,000 houses. The opposition leader in opposition had to protest to the Chinese not to do that. They said too much house. So they wanted the Chinese to take back 1,000 houses and give them 40 million. The NDC always behave as if they're on coke. So now they deny the poor of the poor. The people who cannot face the banks. They take back the house from the grip. They take back the keys from the people from Carriacou. Well, if you promise to build 500 houses per constituency or per parish, why not take these houses you want to build and give your supporters? You take back the house from the people that the previous government give the keys. You remove the houses from the poor and vulnerable, those who cannot face the bank. You remove the daily bread from the workers who work in debushing, the periodic workers. You fire 31 workers from Grand Bay Estate. You reduce the number of people involved in the source of trade. And you refuse to meet the source of exporters. You fire the women of Carriacou. Well, what kind of government is that? Why is it our people so ready to take advantage of our people? You raid the GDB Bank. The bank was established in the days of Gary to meet the challenges of the farmers, the vendors, people in the informal sector, the cottage industry, that the financial institution did not want to see. The ministers raid the bank. You rewrite the rules of morality. And several of your ministers are selling passport. Yes, caller, welcome.
Afternoon, Mr. Pierre. Mr. Pierre, this government in the election campaign, they said that they asked the people of American Campitmatic to vote for them. Vote for them as soon as you all vote for them and we win the election, we're making everybody permanent. Everybody permanent, everybody stroke of their pen. Everybody stroke of their pen. They will sign that to make everybody permanent. And Mr. Pierre, this month, in June, we'll begin 2 years. This government ain't governance. This NC government ain't governance. And up now, the pen can recover. So the pen catch a stroke, and the pen gone in a coma. And I don't believe the pen die and pen bury in some one of the cemetery. I don't believe top cemetery or cemetery on the bottom with the center one. And same while in the election campaign, they invoke the spirit of Morris Bishop. And when they invoke the spirit of a man, I know what is the baggage that man carry. Everything coming forth with the mad spirit. And I asked the government, you promised the people to make him permanent. And if the pen catch a stroke and get in a coma and he die, you see where invoke Morris Bishop spirit, go and invoke back the pen. And let the pen come back and sign so that people that you promised the contract will no longer be on contract, they will be on permanent. Right? And everything that the Commission said in election campaign, this is what this government want to do now. What in the campaign was saying, the Commission line, the Commission line, the Party line. But I remember the Senator for Labour, I think Mr. Andrew Lewis, he said like if he had it closed and when he heard Clarence speaking, he would think what NMP are speaking. The same thing that NMP said, that is what they want to come back and do now. Come back and do. And look at the Prime Minister come back and talk about okay, like the contract workers, that was illegal. You want to give them pension now. It's a this government, headed by this Prime Minister, every day they go in the lab and hatch and lie. Hatch a lie just to try and fool and to fool the people and give them something nice in the airs. But more than come with promises, it just promises that they will not fulfill if they will not fulfill. Because after the failure for 2 years, more lies and more lies are coming in. And there is nothing to show for the 2 years in governance that help the poor man in the country better the living standard. Instead of their life better, the government, as they pray, taking away the little caca that the poor man has in the pocket and giving it to those who have already. I'm saying, I want to say to the Ghanaian people, yes, no man perfect, we made a mistake. But then you have to learn from a mistake. Don't continue to make a mistake and do what you vote for the government that you know that will make your life better, and not make your life more miserable. So if you have a blessing.
Yes, color better is relative. We have to stop using the word better and tell people that this government is hostile against people in the poor economic grouping and tell them why. The old grandmother would have said, if you could have passed a draconian law, it's a long time I don't hear about draconian. If you could have passed a draconian law for leaders who tell lies without compunction, we'd have given Deacon 40 years in prison for lying to the public. And today is 44 years since the bomb blast. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre, you see this pension thing there? I believe there's a good thing for those people who, for the 17 and there's a good thing for them, the pension scheme. You know why? In the next 20 years, every man will be on it. The NIS will be on it, and the old pension scheme will be on it. You only live in 5%. We don't have with the pension scheme are there. We don't have it. What are we doing? We live in 30% on it. By the next 20 years, we live 20% will be on it. We don't have it. How are we doing? Anybody who qualifies for government, they're going to drop pension scheme. And the union can stop it. The pension scheme, they could appeal the pension scheme there. The old pension scheme there. We don't interfere it. We just don't put into going. And this pension scheme will become legal for the next 100 years. The NIS, after a while, the NIS will be joining into it. So we have one pension scheme, one contributory pension scheme in this country. No taxpayers paying for no pension alone. You must contribute to your pension. And I believe that's the best thing in government could do. You have a good day.
Yes, thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Deacon needs to spend some time and give account of why he telling so much lies to our people. Because people want to respect you. Deacon have to understand that even some of his mouthpiece afraid to speak. They're afraid to defend. They can't answer questions, they're hiding. You telling lies with such regularity, without compunction, that even some of the mouthpiece around you is unable to defend you. The government is very insensitive to the people in the lower income group. And even their utterances, their expression, the statements they make is unacceptable. Statements like calling people classless, commoners, beggy, good people and bad people, greedy and needy, lunatic and idiot. All these expressions come from the NDC heavyweights. Now, where we get this government? How come we as a people end up with this group of people? That is why it's so important for us as a people to believe that we have the ability and the answers to meet the challenges we face. We have to stop lying to ourselves and our people. We have to stop blaming others. And we have to ask questions. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar.
Mr. Pierre, Dickens say they're going to Parliament Tuesday to pass bills for who have gone, for who they catch with gun, to give them 20 and 40 years. Who's so stupid to have a gun to protect them, to go up and give Dickens and them the gun? I find Dickens think he could catch people with that. So because you will get 40 years inside for a gun, you will go and give gun like a stupid. Tell Dickens to prepare for his 40 years. I don't care what nobody say. I say it already and I will say it again. This land you see they buy for hospitality. That is where go be with they have Velino, the NDC of Velino. We gonna lock them inside there.
And they only move in the hospital not because they care about health, because the third party won the location.
I'm sorry for the two people
that only reason they move in the hospital, I understand it more and more, that the third party won the location where the hospital is. Not because they care about health.
No.
And they want to privatize the hospital. So more and more, you see a pattern.
They want to make hotel they want to build. But tell them, this is why you're calling on integrity in public life. Tell these people and them, try and leave this country all here, because we come in with for every single one of them, every one of them going in there,
Yeah.
They might be walking around now with jacket and tie like jacket bandits, but they will turn farmers when they get inside there. They have to feed the nation. Tell them be prepared for it. They can do what they want now. Dress up for 5 years, but be prepared to spend 40 years in the garden, in the farm. Have a good afternoon.
Yes. You see, this is what gave rise to revolution. This is what gave rise to social unrest. When you have a group of people that decide to take advantage on their own. The government plundered the GDB bank. They find that was not sufficient. So several of the members are selling passport. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello.
Yes, brother. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I saw something trading on social media. And it says which Canadian government accomplished all of this and more in the span of 2 years. And I was taken aback by that. It seemed to me as though those who prepared that note, they were living in a cave. I was part of a government from 1995. In 1995, and I recall the first 2 years of that government. You could hardly find a young man in any of the 4 constituencies in St. Andrews that was unemployed. You had ROC projects taking place. You had special projects. And yes, agriculture was on the rebound. In the first 2 years of my time in the parliament and being part of a government that inherited a country that was actually bankrupt, coming out from structural adjustment, coming out with under a millibug, and sometimes we forget that palm trees were not growing in Grenada. Under that new government in the first 23 months, specialists were brought in from UE, and we went to work on the millibug. By 1998, the millibug was brought under manageable control. The millibug is one of the biggest things that ever attacked Grenada, the biggest blight that ever attacked Grenada since other than COVID. In 1998, Raphael Fletcher brought down the then government. They called general elections. They went back to the polls in January of 1999. And the first time in the history of Grenada, government secured 15 seats was at that time, after only 2.5 years in office. Now I'm hearing talk today about people comparing at 23 years with 23 months, and I say, tata, that's deductive reasoning. Now, first of all, let me say that no government under our system of governance, no government is elected for 23 years. You are given 5 years, up to 5 years in the first instance. And if you're good, you get an extension. A government collapsing in 1998 because one of the members dropped out. Going back to the polls and the people giving you all the seats, it demonstrated confidence in what they saw in the first 2 years. I look at what I see today as accomplishment. And I'm asking, I said, well, if for some reason this government had to go back to the polls as that government did in 1995 to 1998, I wonder how much of them would survive at the polls with that record of accomplishment that they have just published. The record of accomplishment that I see here, it looks more like an invoice, an incomplete invoice. In that invoice, he did not mention as part of the accomplishment, yes, they defeated the NNP at the time. The NNP thought they were invincible. They defeated them. That's an accomplishment. And the people of Grenada placed power in the hands of a man they did not even know. That too is an accomplishment. They could brag about that. They left out the frequent traveling. Never in the history of Grenada have we seen government ministers traveling so frequently. And in the record, and in their stated record of accomplishment, they did not associate anything that they traveled for was not listed in their record of accomplishment. I see they left out sending a letter to an individual to collect monies that he owed. And in other words, they say crime fighting was part of the accomplishment. But if you're gonna mention what you're doing to collect money from somebody who did wrong, that was if you listing that as part of your accomplishment, you must, in the interest of fairness, talk about prisoners that escape under your watch. That's part of that falls part of your accomplishment. You must talk about the high crime rate in the country. with the crime violence that rolling all over the country. You must talk about the squad of people that you're going around knocking down little boots by the side of the road, trying to earn an honest dollar. You must talk about turning the Ministry of Health loose on small businesses and in a very vindictive way, shutting down people's businesses because of their political utterances. You must talk about the sad state of the economy. If you're going to brag about paying $75 million in the pension, you must talk about how did you accomplish that $75 million? Did it drop from the sky? Is there anything that you have listed here as an accomplishment that you could associate with good governance that caused you to have a pregnant treasury? So when I look at that, I was taken back a little bit and I said, no, this thing can't be as one-sided. They forgot to list as accomplishment. They are the highest paid ministers in the history of Grenada. Highest paid ministers in the history of Grenada. They forget to list as part of the accomplishment that they raised their salaries twice. And most of all, last but not least, they forget of who much is given, much is expected. And in terms of the other achievement, never in the history of Grenada have we seen a government raiding the Grenada Development Bank with the frequency that we see now. Grenada Development was established early by the late great, and I heard you said Eric Gary, and I want to chastise you on that. His name is Eric Gary. His name is Sir Eric Gary. Okay? Never in history have we seen a government that forget the commercial banks and competing with small farmers, competing with fishermen and fisher folks to get loans for development purposes from the government banks. And may I say that under the first 2 years when I was part of that, the banana industry was successfully resuscitated, where Grenada was shipping top-class bananas. All of that happened in the first 23 months. A fisherman fund was set up. A fisherman's fund was set up, making loans available to fishermen so that they could get loans to buy boats and engines. There was a micro enterprise project. They didn't turn you away because of your politics. So, in spite of my many differences with the leader of the New National Party, I can honestly say that the most work that I've seen happen in a government since the late great Sir Eric Gary, and in Sir Eric Gary's time, he was fighting for the development of human resources. He was fighting for better wages for workers. He was fighting to make Grenadians the custodian of their own land. So that was two different fights. But in terms of development, I have seen a water project in Guapo where they did not have water for over 100 years. I have seen lands acquired in Munich for a school in Munich. I have seen playing fields around the country. I have seen a fish market in Grenville where the fisherman was chopping up fish on the pavement. I've seen a brand new fish market erected there. I have seen the Granitang Road where boulders and all of that was flying from there and coming down on pedestrians and motorists. I have seen that happen in the first 23 months. I was part of that. Some of it was my projects. When I looked at their accomplishment, I thought it was a constituency report. So I think they have to come again on that. Thank you, sir.
Yes, scholar, well said. And remember, we have Studio Galaxy. And anytime you land your foot in the country, you're welcome to join me there. Yes, and I think. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, my brother.
next time that call have to take the whole program, you know.
No, he
This
can't.
thing is
can't.
not about politics, you know.
Me don't letting him come and kidnap my program at all.
Well, I tell you, I will support him to kidnap your program. I tell you plain out, you know, man.
Yes, he welcome to join me anytime, man.
But the whole thing
Anywhere.
about it, this is not about politics, you know. But that is fairness.
That is truth. That is truth.
That is truth.
That is when truth walk down the road.
And that is what you call a listen, I had my differences with this guy. But this is what you call patriotism.
Me and
You
him
speak
always
the
have
truth.
differences.
You speak the truth,
You
man.
speak the truth.
You understand? With all fairness. So I said this to say that statement that this caller had made what? They man talk, you know, no cattle talk, you know.
That is when truth going on the road.
They want truth going on.
No gun smoke. Everybody had to back out.
Because
Shoot
the
in
whole,
tongue.
yeah, because I want anybody to come and challenge that caller.
We dare them to take him on.
Indeed and in fact, he vomited his belly out and he said he had his differences with the NMP.
And that is also a joke, you know. As
You
I
understand
say,
what I'm saying?
He go take the whole program.
And if it happened in this way, that this Prime Minister believed he could fool Grenadian with his life, you know the part I would take away from what
Prime Minister is
the
a
last
fake.
caller said? What he saw with the report of the 2 years of that
It's
was just like an invoice.
A constituency report.
There's a constituency report. You understand? They have to stamp that. And if this administration believes that Grenadians are fool, tell them the last caller has been an opposition leader. And if you give him a chance, he do a better job than Dick and Mitchell.
All the time, anytime,
all the time,
all the
and anytime I
time.
could challenge him that
Practically,
he would run the
no
country
comparison.
better than Dick and Mitchell.
No comparison.
Thank you very much, man.
Yes. Yes, the number to call is 442-0175. That is truth in tongue. When truth come to tongue, no gun smoke. This is truth. Radio personalities must deal with the truth. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, I want to join with the gentleman that just spoke there.
That truth come to tongue.
Yeah, I thought Mr. Baptiste have given a good account of himself there, and a lot of what he said should be mentioned by the present government too. Right? So I accept Mr. Baptiste wholeheartedly. I thought he was on point.
Truth come to tongue.
Yeah, definitely on point.
Yeah.
You know, and where you went wrong, people say that. You know, where the government went wrong, he didn't feel to say that. But I thought he was very good. Hats up to him.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, you know, we number to call is 442-0175. I'm going to take the last 5 minutes in the programs to round up. So I'll give you an opportunity to call. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good evening.
Yes, madam.
I sit down and I listen this one before the last caller. And I'm telling you, he could not take a whole program for the afternoon.
I don't let him take me on program at all.
Yeah.
He come down with truth with a piece of manja caution rope. You can't challenge him.
He have a lot more to say. What, when this politician and them now go in politics, he used to side them and he realized that was prime minister the day there was a bunch of jokers.
A bunch of fakes and vultures.
But that is why he have to.
They are fakes. And they are vultures.
Giving thumbs up. And I want him to come back again. And this is the man that run Grenada already. And they believe he has stupid people in Grenada. Tell them, he don't have that. We come right now, we get with senses. We don't know where he come from, but we get it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of
Thank you, caller. Number to call is 442-0175. 44 years ago, we had the bomb blast. And we lost one of the sisters from Byland. So the people from the Holy Comforter was affected because, you know, Pumpkin Vine family. That was some of the bloodshed that was brought in Grenada. Maurice Bishop was a great orator. People loved him dearly. He was very charismatic and handsome. He spoke on issues that evoke a spirit of revolution throughout the Caribbean. However, Maurice Bishop jailed 3,000 Grenadians without charge, without trial, and without an opportunity to defend themselves. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes, caller.
Now, everybody's saying that NDC was in power for 2 years. That's a lie. NDC was in power for 12 years. And that's the truth about it.
Yes, scholar. I listened to an individual said, somebody sent me a post that one individual said that what NDC, a previous minister for NNP, what NDC do in 2 years, the government with safe hands couldn't do it in 20. I said, well, either that minister was lying when they were with the NNP or they lying now. The statements cannot be true in both instances. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Baptiste, good day. Mr. Baptiste, I congratulate Mr. Baptiste for speaking the truth on his idea. But Mr. Baptiste was in power when they give Mr. Miller, Peter Miller, $21 million to build a hotel in Manhattan. He was the one who signed up on it. He didn't tell you that. He would have never tell you that, Mr. Baptiste. Tell the people about the money. What they give you to put in the parliament of this country. And you take it, and they have to fire, take you out of parliament, and put you on the back bench, put you on the bench. Tell the people about that. Don't come and talk nonsense about...
Caller.
Yes.
What? Caller. Caller. Tell me one thing Mr. Baptiste said that was not the truth.
Well, I don't tell you.
Tell me one thing he said that was not the truth.
If he speak the truth, let me tell you about what I tell you about my husband.
Caller, tell me one thing he said that was not the truth. You know we are suckers for the truth. We advocate the truth. Tell me one thing he said that was not the truth.
The Manhattan, he should tell you about that.
Did he speak about Manhattan? Caller. You have to be fair. You have to be fair too. You can't do that. What you're doing there is not good. He spoke for a long time. Some people wanted him to continue, but he can't speak whole time. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, Mrs.
Mr. Pierre, I really want to say I support Baptiste when he called. I remember I used to listen to him in Parliament. And the last time he was in Parliament, I was listening to him. And if he hearing me now, when he came to start his argument, he said, Baptiste, talk your talk. I come to talk my talk. And I was listening to him. And right now, he speak the truth. You cannot die with the truth. The truth has to be told. All the lies NDC come and telling about Keith Mitchell, NNP, right? Baptiste recognize that is lies. All what we are asking for as Grenadian, a continuation of the work that NNP left. Tell the country to continue it, not trying to destroy the people and trying to make NNP look what Dr. Keith Mitchell look like, put him to open shame. Dr. Keith Mitchell haven't got no shame. They can't have the shame because when you're telling lies, you have to cover your face. Because right now is a line on NNP. And the people who is there listening to the truth, they're supposed to come out and speak the truth and defend Grenada. Because right now we have to defend Grenada. Unlike Robert, he's supposed to defend Grenada. And he's supporting lies. But when they go stand up and face the lie, and I hope they have a place to cover and a place to run. But I thank you, Baptiste. I thank you, Mr. Baptiste, for speaking the truth. And defending your little country. We don't want to leave our little country and run to a bigger country. This is ours. This is where our belly string been buried. Sometimes our belly string buried under a coconut tree. This is where we buried, and this is where we have to stand up. So I support Baptiste, and continuously, Mr. Baptiste, continuously phone in the program. I love to hear you. Thank you, Mr. P. Have a
yes, caller, the number to call is 4420175. So irrespective of how Maurice Bishop was charismatic, too much innocent blood was shed. 44 years ago, we had the bomb blast. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
Unconfirmed report just meeting me that the vendors, some of the vendors on the street are under some massive attack. Some of them has been forced by the police to go to the market, and presently right now, tension is a little bit hot. Unconfirmed report, it is alleged that maybe one or two people maybe had been picked up, by the police. But I believe that if you do the things right, you're not getting that. Is that draconian way in dealing with poor people? The people that is on the run now, the people that you're forcing and ram them inside the market. I'm not saying yes, they have all the right to do that, but do it in a better way, man. That is people that you fire from the job.
Caller, how you expect them to treat classless people and commoners?
You understand
Beggy.
Huh?
That is the way they see them.
That don't like poor people.
That is how the government see these people.
They're making $1, Mr. Dick and Mitchell. They're making $1. The same people that you fire, it's the same people that making $1. Now you had them on the run. Right now, there are information to suggest that tension is high in St. George's with the police and the vendors. My God.
Yes, you see.
Later, man.
Yes. You see, we're going to take one more caller, and then I'll round up. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Go right ahead, caller.
Mr. Pierre, there's always say, I just always choose 4 words: hearing, listening, understanding, and interpreting. The caller who spoke, well, I get to know it is Mr. Battis. The gentleman who always call on your program, and I had to call out to him, caller. When he called back after Mr. Battis would have spoken, the first thing he said to you is that he agree with all that Mr. Battis has said. So if he agree with all that Mr. Battis would have said, it means that Mr. Battis spoke the truth. You called on him to tell you one thing that Mr. Battis said that is not true. He couldn't say it because he would have already said he agreed with what Mr. Battis would have said. So it's time this gentleman listen to himself when he's speaking. Okay? You ask him the question more than once and he could not reply because he would have already said he agreed with everything Mr. Battis would have said. So this gentleman now must learn. He must learn. It's time. He must learn.
Yeah. Yes.
And you hear now you're getting callers agreeing for Mr. Battis to come back. Mr. Battis was living in Grenada, so he knows what takes place. Maybe that gentleman was not living in Grenada, and others who have so much to say that the NMP don't do anything. Maybe they were not living in Grenada. So Mr. Battis proved to them now that he was living and is living in Grenada, and he could speak about what happened in Grenada. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, thank you. And we want to thank all the callers for calling. We always cherish calls and take your calls. You have difference of opinion with us, no problem with that. And we go back to some of the NDC negative achievements. And Mr. Battis would have spoken some of them. The raid of the GDB Bank. I take the strongest objection to the government of Grenada raiding the bank. They are looters. And I call on the directors of the bank to resign, cut blank. All of you resign. You're a shambles. You have brought disgrace to our country. Resign. We are not calling you all name. We're giving you all our opportunity to resign. If it is necessary, we'll identify you all to the public and call your name. Several members are agents of the CBI program. This is opening a cesspool for corruption. We call on the Integrity Commission and we call on Timothy Antoine from the ECCB to nudge Deacon that this is wrong. the extensive and excessive traveling without justification. There is no justification for that excessive traveling except it is used for these members to make money. Every day outside they have podium, and it is used for selfish and personal reasons. Displacing the income of periodic workers in the debushing program. The attack of the elderly, physically challenged and disadvantaged children. The attack on the workers in Grand Bazaar Estate and the source up industry, the pest management unit. No justification at all for the government doing that. The alleged incidents of bribery of several people. When the government paid the teachers, the prime minister say he paid for good relationship. That is bribery. Words to the effect. The fact that an individual had a gracious offer, and we understand over $100,000 was given for the gracious offer, in addition that they would not lose monthly pockets. The prime minister and others, we were told, we heard, received gifts in excess of 30,000 US, and they did not surrender it to the Integrity Commission. That hotel bills in excess of 40,000 US was run up. The unfair dismissal of workers that was employed between 3 to 19 years. The draconian laws that is placed in Grenada today, worse than in the revolution. Government declare restorative justice. Restorative justice is tantamount to political vengeance. Government set up a ministry for political mischief. That is MIT, led by Andy Williams. The lies told to the people of Haiti, the deception, and the level of insult to Caribbean leaders. When government claimed that if they don't fix this thing with Liat by the end of December, he buying or renting a plane. And then he tried to backtrack. This NDC government is the most corrupt government, the most corrupt group that ever passed in this country. And they have told the most lies. And we firmly believe that the upsurging violence must be placed squarely at the foot of the NDC. The language, the insulting, dismissive, and fractious language used by several members of the government seems that is a policy position of the government to be insulting, dismissive, demeaning, and fractious to our country. This could only result in increased violence and upsurge in social decadence. We're back with you tomorrow between 12 and 1, and you have another opportunity to punch. Thank you very much.